So I think the key qualities for a leader really depends on what organization, which part of the world, but we've done a lot of research over the past 2 years, assessing around 35,000 leaders and interviewing some 250, 300 of CEOs and C-suite leaders from organizations like McKinsey and Microsoft and Google and so on. What we have come down to is that mindfulness, selflessness, and compassion are 3 core competences of any leader. Mindfulness, the ability to be really present with the people that you're leading. If you are not, they're not going to be engaged. Selflessness in terms of not being about you, but about being about the organization and the people you lead. And compassion, having an intention to be of benefit for others. Research have found that that's just creating the best engagement, loyalty, commitment in an organization. What are the things that many leaders do wrong? That is a question that we asked a lot of leaders to figure out what was it actually that demotivates people. Certainly not being present is a number one. Leaders that is kind of grabbing for their phone while they're having a conversation with an employee is not very engaging. Leaders that think more about themselves and how they look, think more about their status, taking the stage rather than having their people take the stage, is also not a good thing to do. So I would say those are the 2 things: too egocentric and basically not being present with the people you lead. In doing all this research, I was imagining that we would come out with some of the more traditional things, like what are the big challenges. That would be like complexity and stress and so on. What I was really struck by, and which was fascinating, was to find that all of these leaders, almost all of them, were really taking care of themselves. They were sleeping enough, 6, 7, or 8 hours, all of them every night. They were all exercising, eating healthy. They were very, very focused. So the fact that very senior leaders have the ability to take care of themselves, I think is interesting. First of all, because it shows if you take care of yourself, you're going to be able to raise in ranks. Also, secondly, if you take care of yourself, then you're going to be able to sustain the performance that you've had for many years. So that sense of self-compassion was very interesting to find. Mindfulness is becoming increasingly important. I heard that Josh Bersin at the center stage this morning said that mindfulness is becoming center stage of any HR organization, any HR activity. Why is that? Because research have found that on average, people in organizations are basically distracted. Basically, the mind is wandering away 47% of the time. That means you may have 1,000 people sitting in the office every day, but half of the time, their mind is somewhere else. Whether that is captured by Facebook or Twitter or what it is, we don't know. But our mind is incredibly distracted nowadays due to technology. So mindfulness is becoming increasingly important because we have entered what could be called an attention economy, a place where attention is equally important to have skills and have time. So mindfulness has come to stay, I think. I think that attentiveness is becoming increasingly important, and a huge issue that most leaders is paying attention to, no pun intended. Facebook, Google, all the tech giants are using mindfulness for that reason, but also the big finance institutions, all of the professional services firms like Accenture, McKinsey, EY, KPMG, PwC, all of them are using mindfulness nowadays, both for the leaders but also for the employees, because without that, people are simply not focused enough and present enough. So the impact of social media, whether that's Facebook or Twitter or LinkedIn, whatever, does have a strong impact on mental health. I know in the UK there's a very strong emphasis on looking at mental health of people, and it's a huge issue. And one of the biggest impactors, there's no doubt about that, is social media. There was just a new alliance created in Silicon Valley from some of the tech engineers that were part of establishing Facebook and Google, basically saying those organizations, they are intending to do good, but they're doing massively evil because they're basically attacking the brains, not just of adults who have a choice, but more so of children. So yes, massive correlation between mental health, well-being, and social media. Can we train to have compassion? Yes, we absolutely, definitely can train to have compassion. Compassion, like any other mental quality or ability that we have, is something that is a trainable skill. The more we practice being kind to others, the more we will by default be kind to others. There are, first of all, some practical techniques you can do, and then it's really just about practicing it in everything you're doing. So yes, compassion can be trained. So what I'm hoping to bring to delegates with the talk today is, first of all, that leadership starts in the mind. Oftentimes when we talk about leadership, we're thinking about strategy and vision, the bottom line, the spreadsheets. But that's really just the external expression of leadership. Leadership is the stuff that starts within ourselves. First of all, understanding ourselves so that we can manage ourselves. Only when we can understand and manage ourselves can we understand and manage other people. And only when we can do that can we actually understand the culture and manage the culture and organization that we are put in the world to serve. So the fact that leadership really starts with the mind and then goes from there into the world, that I think is a main message that I hope people will take home.